Throne of Eldraine, Magic the Gathering's first fairy tale-inspired set, almost broke the game. The first pro-level event featuring Eldraine was Mythic Championship 5.
What is the dominant deck that is defining gameplay right now? This is the deck that everybody either chose to play or had a plan to beat, was Bant Golos. You have a bunch of ram spells, you have cards like Growth Spiral, Arboreal Grazer, and then you're looking to get Golos to go find Field of the Dead. If you draw land, you make zombies. If you draw spells, well, it's a spell, it's action.
But Bant Golos wasn't the only deck putting up results in the tournament. The power of Eldraine was already becoming clear. You had Simic Food.
The combination of both Gilded Goose and Oko Thief of Crowns allows you to generate a consistent source of food. But of course, that's not the only thing Oko does. Oko basically does everything that you would want. It completely dominates creature matchups because, yeah, you have a giant big creature in play, doesn't matter, I'll turn it into a 3/3. You have a bunch of food laying around, you can turn those into 3/3, turn it around and be aggressive.
And Gruul aggro.
You can just get a lot of pressure on very quickly and finish the game off, often with a Colossus backed up by Embercleave, which just can do so much damage to your opponents very quick.
And although Javier's Gruul list ultimately took down the tournament, it was Field of the Dead, which comprised 45% of the metagame that caught the ban from Wizards of the Coast a few days later. Our next major event,
the 6th Mythic Championship.
But this tournament's metagame would be much different than the last.
First of all, Field of the Dead was banned, and that led to quite an upheaval in Standard. Normally, when I make this overview, you get like a nice diversity of cards. It already tells a very clear story, and Oko in particular has just proven to be so powerful. These decks based around these 7 cards as the core, what I labeled as food decks. That is 63% of the field. Then the total number of players with like either main deck or sideboard Oko is 69%. And this will just go into the history books as Mythic Championship Oko.
And shortly after this event, Oko and Once Upon a Time were banned. But this was just the beginning of Eldraine's dominance in Standard.
It is time for the final Mythic Championship of the year.
After running over the competition with his Jund Sacrifice list,
And your champion, Piotr Głogowski!
He played exceptionally well. Not dropping a single match.
No.
The entire tournament is pretty unreal.
the deck was fueled by a combo between Cauldron Familiar and Witch's Oven.
Throw the cat into the oven, ping you with this, get a card with Corval, do this, do this, do this, click this, okay.
Right.
Emote you, your turn.
Theros Beyond Death dropped shortly after, leading us into the biggest event of the year. The top 4 of the tournament included Marcio Carvalho and Gabriel Nassif, both playing Jeskai Fires.
And what this deck is looking to do is get the namesake. You want to get Fires of Invention into play. Once you do, you can get your heavy hitters, cards like Cavalier of Flame, Kenrith the Return King, give them all haste and kill your opponent out of nowhere.
Paulo Vitor Damo de Rosa on blue-white control, with some powerful additions from Theros, and finally Seth Manfield playing mono-red aggro.
It's a mono-red deck, right? You're trying to get your opponent's dead as quickly as possible.
And although it wasn't represented in the top 4, Temur Reclamation was one of the decks to beat at the tournament, which used its namesake, Uro, and Nissa to generate huge amounts of mana. And after a long tournament, the newest world champion was crowned. A few weeks later, thanks to the coronavirus pandemic, professional Magic came to a screeching halt. Ikoria launched in April, introducing the companion mechanic. Now, this was massively problematic in its own right, but that's a video for another day. During this period of exclusively online play, a new boogeyman came to dominate the Standard format, Fires of Invention. On June 1st, 2020, Fires of Invention, along with Agent of Treachery, were banned. The next professional level events featuring Standard were the Players Tour online series held over the course of a few tournaments running throughout the summer, culminating in the Players Tour Finals. This tournament was dominated by the powerful 4-mana enchantment,
Wilderness Reclamation, and backed up by hard-hitting heavyweights like Uro.
and Jund Sacrifice saw some representation as well. In the finals of the tournament, all Riku Kumagai could do
Is look on helplessly as Christoph Prince puts Expansion Explosion on the stack, and he is your Players Tour Finals champion.
It's fitting, right, for the champion to finish it off with Wilderness Reclamation plus Expansion Explosion. That combination has proven itself to be the best thing to be doing in Standard.
And of course, a few days later, another ban announcement. This time removing Wilderness Reclamation, Growth Spiral, Teferi Time Raveler, and Cauldron Familiar. Uro dodged the ban hammer this time around, but shortly after Zendikar Rising dropped, Uro finally caught the ban as well. And on to our final pro-level event of the year. After Uro was banned, the metagame was still wildly unhealthy, and another obvious best deck emerged once again.
The Adventures deck is just very well-rounded. The combination of adventure creatures themselves, playing double duty, plus just the Edgewall Innkeeper and Lucky Clover card advantage engines makes this deck really difficult to shut down. It's an archetype where you have several different paths towards extremely powerful gameplay and advantages you can build. It's difficult for an opponent to bring a deck that's going to be prepared for all of those at the same time.
5 of the top 8 competitors in the tournament brought Omnath Adventures, and 2 others were playing Gruul Adventures, which also played full playsets of Bonecrusher Giant, Lovestruck Beast, and Edgewall Innkeeper. And after endless Omnath Adventures mirror matches,
Asa Versavage is your 2020 season Grand Finals champion.
and again, another ban announcement targeting Omnath, Lucky Clover, and Escape to the Wilds. A few months passed, and the final card to be banned from Throne of Eldraine was Mystic Sanctuary in Modern. When the dust finally settled and Eldraine rotated out of Standard in September of 2021, a total of 7 cards were banned from the set. Throne of Eldraine will be remembered as one of the strongest Standard sets of all time.